In this tutorial, we will take a look at Create Target in the camera menu. In this example, we have two cubes put into different position, and the camera that is not focused on either of the two. So what if we want to orbit around this cube, for example? As you can see, it doesn't just work like that. To create camera movement that's oriented towards the cube, we should move the camera's point of interest. Let's go to projection scene 1. So in the top view, you can see that my camera target is here, and here are the cubes. And for better clarity, I will move this cube to the master scene. To help you better understand the process, we'll make two active viewports. Now look what happens if I move the target closer to the cube. The camera's view changes in the master scene, and it doesn't look like it covers the entire scene anymore. This isn't good. We don't want that to happen, right? So now let's try to do the same thing using the new Create Target function. Let's generate position for the cube. Pick faces and choose front. Now we have a helper plane in front of the 3D object, and this means we can now generate position. Let's take a look from custom view. All right. And to create a null on that position, we can go to generate, choose position from point, and as you can see, we now have a null on that position. And so now we can move it to the master scene. So let's go ahead and do that. And now we have both camera's target position and cube position, and we can create a target. Let's select the camera and the null object. We'll go to camera menu to create target. Okay. Select that, open orientation. Now that I try to rotate the camera along the Y, it rotates around the cube. But as you can see, its position hasn't changed. It still covers the whole scene. So this way, we can select any object in our projection and create a camera movement focused on it. We can also move from one object to another. To do that, all we have to do is select the second cube and generate position for it. Create a null, move it to the master scene, select target and press P to open position values. Add a key and go to the end of the comp. Here I'm going to open a null position and just copy it and paste it on the target. This way we get ourselves a path from one cube to another for camera to follow. Now of course you can do all of this manually, but it's just much easier this way. You can also rotate the camera separately on the go without changing the path. Now let's make the camera go around the second cube. But first we should remove the target from the first cube. You can just remove it from timeline. You'll get an error. To remove target, you should select camera. Head over to camera menu and remove target. You should only do it this way, really. And now the camera is no longer focused on the first cube. Let's select the camera and the second null object and create a new target. And as you can see, now the camera orbits around the second cube. So suppose it's fair to say that this new tool gives us more control over the scene, that by using it, you can create some very cool camera movements. Let's go ahead and try to apply these skills in this ready-made interior projection scene. We already have camera here that does some simple movements, but we want to create a more interesting, more intense kind of movement. So we'll make the camera focus on this coffee table while it's moving. I'll go to the fifth scene and generate position on the floor there. And also create a null on that position. I'll move it to the master scene. And select both camera and null object and create a target. Reduce the quality to speed things up. All right, select target, open orientation, and just try to orbit around the target. Cool, it works. Let's animate. Add a key. Then I'll go to the end of the comp to rotate the camera around the target in the opposite direction, like so. Adjust it a little bit with camera tool. Just move it a little bit forward. Okay, good. It's time to pre-render. This way we get ourselves a very beautiful movement. Looks very good. This animation makes the scene look more vast, kind of, showing all the corners of the room. Now let's change the camera's target and focus it right here. Once again, remember that you should only remove the old target by going to Camera, Remove Target. That's pretty much the only way. As you can see, the target has been removed in the proper manner. Now let's generate position. Create a null. Move it to master. Then select both and create a new target. So you see now the camera's pointed at the sofa. And if we animate it like this, we will get a completely different result. So like I said, this feature gives you more flexibility in terms of working with the camera, and it just gives you more control over its movements. Now let's consider another example. Here's a projection of a city, and it's pretty heavy, requires quite a bit of computational power, you can tell. So let's try to animate the camera in the usual way. We'll add a key on the first frame, we'll go to the last frame and try to create movement. So now, even when we reduce resolution, it's still very difficult to work in a project like that using Camera Tool. You'd have to fine tune and make slight adjustments manually, which is kind of tedious and difficult. So the good news is that it's actually gotten pretty easy with our new feature. Let's create a target for our camera, this building right here. Now, if I find the building in the fifth scene and generate position there, I will then create a null object and move it to the master scene. Now I'll create a target. Open orientation values, set key on Y. And with more control like that, we can now set the value. Okay, cool. Let's take a look. Great. I think it looks awesome. Very beautiful movement indeed. That's it. Now you know how it works.